Hello and welcome to the Commerce Connect Introduction and Understanding video series. My name is Mark Demony. I'm a technical consulting engineer with Sitecore, and I'll be walking you through today's session. We'll start today's session by going through a quick introduction. We'll go through the agenda, we'll go through the target audience, and we'll do a quick overview of the nature of Commerce Connect. So first off, the target audience is Sitecore partners, either Sitecore technology partners or Sitecore implementation partners. Now, when I say Sitecore technology partners, the reason I don't say Sitecore e-commerce technology partners is that there's a number of features within Commerce Connect that may be of use to partners not necessarily 100% in the e-commerce space. So these could include things like PIM systems where you're needing to synchronize product information data. These could include things like loyalty programs, any areas where you may need to synchronize users between systems. And so there's a lot of different aspects to Commerce Connect that may be of value to technology partners, even if they're not necessarily e-commerce partners. Now, I also say Sitecore implementation partners. Of course, like any Sitecore technology framework, these may be used by implementation partners who are needing to integrate with some third-party system, either commerce or otherwise, like I just discussed. So the agenda, this is a fairly long video series. I'm going to break this down into an introduction as well as an installation of an example implementation. And so we'll actually go through that installation process at a high level, and we'll be using that example installation to go through some of the other core concepts and pipelines. So first off, what Sitecore Commerce Connect is not. It is not a standalone e-commerce solution. It is not a competitor or alternative to Sitecore Commerce Server, and it is not an upgrade path for Sitecore e-commerce services. And this is important to get out of the way right up front. There tends to be a lot of confusion with partners and wanting to understand comparisons between Commerce Connect and whether to go with Commerce Connect or whether to go with Commerce Server, and that really doesn't hold up at all. It's not even an apples to oranges comparison. It's kind of like a cars to roads comparison, because what Commerce Connect is really a framework. And so everything is basically a pass-through to an underlying e-commerce platform or service. And it's done similar to the Sitecore media framework in that it's a common layer and a common integration layer that external systems can be integrated with. So what is Sitecore Commerce Connect and what is the purpose of it? Well, it's really a means of bringing all the goodies of the Sitecore experience platform, particularly around user engagement. So those are things like analytics, engagement plans, personalization, the experience editor, to external e-commerce systems. And what is it? Well, it's a framework, and meaning that you can use or discard aspects and models that are useful. And so to my earlier point, let's say you're doing something like a PIM system, which is a product information management, and you want to get that data into Sitecore. You can use Sitecore Commerce Connect, and you can use the product synchronization feature of that, and you can discard absolutely everything else. You don't need carts, you don't need users, you don't need prices, inventories, all those other things. And so in general, it's more than likely that no one e-commerce system is going to use every single aspect of Commerce Connect. And similarly, you may use certain bits of Commerce Connect not even in commerce situations. So first off, who's using Commerce Connect? Well, internally, we're using it with Sitecore Commerce 8 powered by Commerce Server. We're also using it with Sitecore Commerce 8 powered by Microsoft Dynamics. And there's a number of third-party integrations that are in process and will be released probably very shortly after this video is. So, what are the design principles around Commerce Connect? Well, first of all, simplicity. Any Sitecore developer probably knows that one of your common exercises in doing an information architecture is building out Sitecore templates. And so something like a Sitecore product, you might have to go through an exercise of determining what a core product is, determining what child items you may have, determining what relationships between products you might have. With Commerce Connect, one of the core principles is where possible, use out-of-the-box templates. And so what this means is we have primitive models for things like products, and then we have primitive models for things like key value pairs for features and relationships and other aspects. And so instead of necessarily having to make a strongly typed model, which is what you would normally do for Sitecore, in that you would have a product that has a fairly firm product definition, and you may have a relationships item, and you may have features items. As we go through products and look at products, it basically means that we're trying in a lot of cases to use out-of-the-box templates. And what this means is it's easier to integrate with a lot of those external systems, because you don't necessarily need to strongly model those Sitecore objects with that external system. And that'll become more clear as we look at that. Second is extensibility. While I did just talk about simplicity and using a lot of those out-of-the-box items where possible, if you do need to customize it, you can easily customize and extend those domain models. Third is independence. So all of those core aspects, products, carts, etc., they have no dependencies on each other, so they can be removed or replaced easily. So remember, I gave that early example of potentially using Commerce Connect to synchronize just that product data. Well, all those other aspects of Commerce Connect that are much more e-commerce related that you don't need to use, you can easily pull those out without having to worry about dependencies. And last but not least, everything goes through pipelines for all services. This is really the main extensibility point, as well as the fact that any communication necessary between Sitecore and those external e-commerce systems is done through pipeline customization. And so we'll be talking through that a lot as we go further. So what's really at the core of Sitecore Commerce Connect? Well, it's really the pipelines. And for Sitecore Commerce Connect 7 and above, these are products, prices, inventory, carts, customers, and orders. For Sitecore Commerce 8 Connect, these include new pipelines around wish lists, gift cards, loyalty programs, shipping, and payments. All right, for getting started, first of all, let's discuss the publicly available resources. Commerce Connect is available for download. It is not on the SDN, but in fact on Sitecore's new site, dev.sitecore.net. You have Sitecore Commerce 8 Connect, including the download itself, release notes, and installation guides, the API, developers guides, installation guides, integration guides. All of this is what I would consider essential reading to anybody doing development on Commerce Connect. So that's available here, dev.sitecore.net, and then Commerce, and Sitecore Commerce 8 Connect. So internally within Sitecore, we have the NopCommerce connector and the starter kit. And the starter kit is really underlying platform agnostic. It'll be working off of Commerce Server data as well. The NopCommerce connector, we use this as a reference implementation in addition to developing on Sitecore Commerce Server. We also wanted to have some third-party as a test example. It's a lightweight open source .NET e-commerce product, which also includes sample data. So that's images, metadata, relationship between products. All of these are extremely useful concepts when testing out a framework. The NopCommerce connector currently supports product synchronization, carts, customers, users, and inventory and prices. And this will be more fully completed in Q1, early Q2 to include other aspects and be released externally and publicly. And so if you are a Sitecore technology partner and need access to this now, please contact somebody within Sitecore close to the e-commerce team, and they will provide that to you. Secondly, again, the starter kit, which I mentioned, it really currently is built on top of Commerce Connect and works with the NopCommerce connector. And so all those pipelines that we talked about, product sync, carts, inventory, and prices, those are used and displayed within the starter kit. So let's now talk about installation and architecture. So we're looking here at the example architecture for the NopCommerce installation. Now, of course, at any Sitecore installation, you're starting with the Sitecore repository. Next, we'll be installing a package with Commerce Connect. That in turn will build the commerce indexes as necessary. Obviously, for Sitecore, you can use Lucene or Solar. In these examples, we're going to use Lucene because it will create the indexes on the fly. Now, we have the starter kit as well as an installed package. And in connecting with the external e-commerce system, in this case NopCommerce, we have the NopCommerce installation itself. So we're going to install that with example content. Now, everything here that you're seeing in gray, these are really where you're doing coding against Commerce Connect and coding against NopCommerce. So there's a number of plugins which are compiled and installed on the NopCommerce side, one for really each functional area that we're integrating with. So products, carts, pricing, inventory, and users. And then there's a number of pipeline extensions on the Sitecore side. So as operations occur, for example, product synchronization or pricing calls, the request will come, it'll go through the pipeline to that external e-commerce system, which in turn gets that value from NopCommerce. So that concludes the introduction to Sitecore Commerce Connect. For next steps, we'll be going through installation, and this includes a number of sub-steps, including installing Sitecore 8 and Commerce Connect, installing NopCommerce 3.1 and the Sitecore plugins that are necessary for communication with Sitecore, the Nop connector examples. These are code examples that exist on the Sitecore side, and the starter kit, which is an MVC front end, so you can see what is actually installed and make sure your processes are all up and running. And then we'll go through a testing process, and then we'll go through a number of examples, including going deeper into a number of the various Commerce Connect processes, such as product synchronization.